I never get used to that weird voice. But anyways, we're here. You know what I really want to talk about is like this collaboration of doing this like collaborative blog, and it's called a filthy casual's guide to the Imaginarium. And it's just like, here's our groups that are cool. Like this is a collective poem that we did, and then like inviting them to see like what happened during like that month and like what's going on. I think as we move forward, there needs to be like more focal point or guidance in like where to go in like this weird ecosystem that we have here on Minds. It could be hard to navigate, and I always been like, I want to keep and attract really good channels that I want to create, and whatever it is they want to create. And so that's why I kind of wanted to bring some of the core members of Imaginarium into this meeting so that we could have some fun. So right now, that's why I wanted to invite you, Juliana, because I know you know kind of Mac a little bit, and like these like overlapping circles, and then I don't even know why like we just started talking about that and like things overlap. And anytime there's like this overlapping of connections, I've like, okay, this is fun. Let me pull on this and see what happens. And I think this like Venn diagram of that Minds token competition. Minds Gaming wants to do this card and everything that's going on. But I guess like, what's your first impressions of you being on Minds and then like trying to grow your channel and like navigate this weird little ecosystem that we have here?
Yeah, I mean, without repeating what other people have said, it's really felt like home as far as social media platforms go to me, coming from places like Instagram and Facebook. I wasn't on for the past like few years, but I had an Instagram that I was trying to build a following on with my art, and it just seemed impossible to reach many people on Instagram. Most of my followers were people I already knew, and I think the best part of being on Instagram for me was the story where I could collaboratively talk to my followers, my friends. And one of my pieces for Garden Fiesta was a collaboration with my followers where I asked them to give me an herb or an animal, and I just combined them all. So I like doing stuff like that with my social media, and Minds is a great. I haven't found an easy way to communicate with people so much like the story on Instagram, but there's a lot more engagement overall, I would say, on Minds, which has been so inspiring for me with creators on here.
Yeah.
So I love it.
What kind of art do you do?
It kind of varies, honestly. Like, I just recently got into pixel art, which I think is getting pretty popular. That's how I won the Minds token contest. I got a lot of exposure through that. But I mean, I'm based in traditional art, mainly drawing. So when I switched over to digital art, I think last July, a lot of line work. I like doing a lot of line work and little kind of fantasy scenes. Like I have a series with some animals that was birthed from that collaboration on Instagram. So it's like forest scenes, these animals, and I think a lot of what I try to do with my art is I think ahead to, I want to be a mother. What kind of stories or scenes do I want to share with my children? And
definitely.
I'm currently working on a children's book right now with my half brother. So
that's awesome. Yeah. Have you tried out the Minds blogging for that, so you can do like the stories and the images?
No, I've seen mixed. I should try it out. I shouldn't just take people's word for it, but a lot of people say that Minds isn't very blog friendly at this point. They might be doing some work on it, but maybe that's wrong. Should probably try it out.
I mean, yeah, you should definitely give it a try for yourself, right? Play with it a little bit. You can do like you can check out my blogs. I'll send you a link after this to my blogs, and I have tons and tons of blogs on Minds and different topics and stuff. But they're great for artists that want to upload their images too. So you can write your little stories, you can upload your images, and then you can lock it for tokens at the bottom if you want supporters to like unlock your blog, or you can lock it for tiers. So blogs are a great way to start. And I know there's controversy on like how hard it is to find blogs, or if there should be a blogging platform over blog posts. But a blog right now is the only way that you're going to be able to write those stories and upload those images. And you can upload multiple images to the blogs, and so you can do those story scenes and stuff.
Yeah, to look at Curry Hobo's blogs, he does. Actually, I remember when he like complained about like how they were.
Yeah, go look at an artist blog. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I was actually going to get a notepad. Just reminded me. I'll be right back.
And so, like I remember when Curry Hobo was complaining about the blogs because like they weren't like displaying the images like how he wanted. They weren't like seamless because like he does this scroll type of thing. And then so later they kind of fixed that for him. But they do need to like improve blogs, but I know they're better now. I did a blog where I did kind of mixed media where I did had all these collages and I did like poetry, and then I also embedded a video, and it worked pretty good. But like I remember Mac had a problem, and that was, I think it's something that they fixed with the Plus. I remember Max Gaming kind of actually helped them with that. So they're getting better with it. But going back to the story, this is another thing, Curry Hobo, going back to him, he's the same thing. He's a father, and I think he's currently writing a children's book of teaching kids about like open source. And just like just like the concept of like open source. I remember when it was one of these books that like a teacher gave me in high school that I was just like, oh, I'm not going to read this. But then like later on in life, I read it like in college. And it was called The Cathedral and the Bazaar. And just that concept of like open source versus closed source systems, like just like blew my mind. Like, and I think teaching that to kids like younger, and that these even lessons of like more organic systems is like very valuable and important when, considering, doing meaningful art and doing something with your life. That's a worthy thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, my partner, who is a full stack developer, talks about how we're going to teach our kids open source and AI and coding from the start, and that's really what people should be teaching kids in school. But the bureaucracy is a million steps behind. So it's actually important today.
He plays with his AI like every day. He loves his bot.
Yeah, the schools don't really play to the sort of strengths of the individual. I find it's like they kind of have this one size fits all mode of teaching. So it's like if you fall into the category where you respond to that type of teaching, it's great. But if you're somebody that has a brain that works in a slightly different way, and it's not a case of not being intelligent, but you just need a different approach or something, then obviously you don't get catered for. You have to learn in the manner that they teach sort of en masse. And I always think that's a real shame. That's going back to what we were saying, the other thing about homeschooling is obviously you can tune into what your child sort of excels at and sort of capitalize on it a little bit. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't teach them other things or encourage them to be open to some of the subjects that perhaps they're not quite as enamored with.
So recently I was reading this article, and I like to read these blockchain articles, not because about like I want tips on trading or anything like that, but because I like to think about it like philosophically, and these use cases beyond just like monetary. And it was talking about this mindset of that what a lot of the people in the earth or in the majority of the space are looking at are how to incentivize certain outcomes they want for their project, and not just necessarily monetary, like how much money can we make and like give our stockbrokers this thing, but no, like, how do we make this project work the best way, and like put bounties on things that we want, and like how do we incentivize this? And like early on, I always talked about like how do we, I think Curry Hobo like posed this a little while ago, but it was like something about like what's the value of creativity. You know, I always viewed this like circulation of ideas and currency as like the actual energy that gives us the ability to like create these content and all this kind of stuff, and more not in monetary value, but like how do we program this stuff to incentivize the community and outcomes that we want to see. So like, you know, when I seen early dApps of these on different blockchains, but there was like this one where they would like incentivize people, critiquing people, not critiquing, but giving honest feedback in like comments and blogs. And then there was this other one where they had this like publishing like kind of PDF book place, but like they were incentivizing people to write.
Gaming walkthroughs right now.
Yeah, and so you know, I could envision this like system of where we are incentivizing kids to explore different types of learning, different types of subjects, and everything in the beginning, early development, and then creating incentives for whatever they're more naturally inclined to. And building support systems economically and resource wise to help support those types of kids in multiple arrays of development, not just like one way where you sit in a class and you write on a paper and you regurgitate what's on the board. If one is more inclined to program or more inclined to whatever, but there's multiple ways in which we could program incentives and ways in which we use this technology. And right now, for me personally, is like, how do I get it? Well, first, once I get my level of my liquidity pool, my first economic engine, to then when I have this kind of surplus of tokens, how do I incentivize the creative community that I want to see and what I envision Imaginarium could be? And you know, in that sense, you know, these early tests of collaborating and doing that kind of stuff. But then, like, how do we do this in a sustainable way? Because that's always been the problem with Imaginarium. It's not like lack of, you know, people wanting to do something or lack of attention or whatever. It's just like the sustain. Like for a moment with open mic with Mike, like with Mac, we had a good thing going on, and it just was hard to like sustain something like that. You know?
Yeah, we got to figure out a way to kind of use this blockchain to benefit our creative people, like our artists and everything. Like,
yeah,
I'm not an artist, but I'm a gamer, so you have to appreciate the artists and you have to appreciate the art that they do for us and they make. I mean, without them, we wouldn't have anything in our game, right? We would just be walking around as little stick figures. So, so you gotta appreciate.
I mean,
them.
you know, there is the flat like base level of incentive of minds of like creating content, right? And this is just like this blanket thing. And so, you know, yeah, you're spammers, you got people doing all this other stuff, and then but it's like up to us as the community to like double down on like real people doing, you know, honest like content, whatever it comes in, whatever type it comes in.
I think in the long run, it'd be fun to kind of create our own kind of Imaginarium token and wallet to get out.
No, I couldn't. I was reading this other article and it just gave me like this idea of how do we practically use your gaming token that you already have, the Minds gaming token, to like have like this like play in for the Minds card game.
Yeah.
And it can work because, like, oh my god, like, you know, you just set up a small liquidity pool, and then like you make the token worth like 5 cents, and then now you have something that you pass around, and it's like, you know, I used to do this with my aunt. She used to bring out like pennies, and then we used to play for pennies, and it just made the game more interesting.
Whenever you're betting something, it always makes the game more interesting.
So you have your own token? What is the Minds Gaming token?
Well, it's really nothing right now. It's just a token that I created to see if I could create a token.
That's valid.
Yeah. I wanted to play with the blockchain, and I wanted to see if I could create my own token. So, like, I made it like 2-3 years ago when Minds first switched over to the ERC token. So I made my own token when they made their own token, just to make a token. So we got to figure out something to use it for.
Yeah, I think the game is a great idea. The card game.
Yeah. Do you play any games?
Me?
Yeah.
I do. I've been a big, I mean, this is like a very feminine game, but I've been a big Sims fan for my whole life. Ever since I can remember. I really like building houses, like interior design and like landscape architecture really inspire me.
Yeah.
So like I'm a homemaker too. That's like my first job.
Nice.
So I really like The Sims. I was playing Morrowind for a while. I like watching Liam play Oblivion. It's like one of the funnest things. The Elder Scrolls series is great.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we love watching like Mandalore Gaming and Seth videos, gaming reviews.
Oh yeah.
So much fun. So.
Oh yeah, they make the best videos sometimes, and sometimes you can find them and they're just hilarious because the game's terrible. Those are the best ones.
Yeah, I think we watched recently. I think it's his most popular one, but Space Station 13. His review of that game.
Yeah.
It's just like a clusterfuck.
What was your favorite game growing up? Like when you came up as a kid, what did you play?
Let's see. My dad was really into computers and games, so he got my sister and I computers when we were really young. I was playing just random games since I was like 3 years old. I can't remember that far back, but I think when I was like 6 or 7, I really liked Toontown. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
no, tell me about it.
It was a Disney game. Basically, you made this little toon. Honestly, in hindsight, it's kind of communist propaganda.
I mean, you didn't know that. You were just playing a game.
I know. Their slogan is "Tunes of the World Unite." I mean, you can view it in like an anarchism type of like, yeah, down with like the oligarchy or something, but you basically fought these cogs with these gags. You had like pies or squirt guns. They're collectibles. I was actually thinking about this earlier today. The idea of collectibles in terms of NFTs, and I was thinking about Toontown because you would collect these little gags that you used as weapons against your enemy, which were these cogs, which were these robots that were associated with different clans. So like the cash bots or the cell bots. I forget the other two, but basically you just like worked your way up to the headquarters of these enemies, and then you with your friends would like throw pies at them.
Okay.
And it was an open world multiplayer. It was really cool.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds fun. I would play it definitely.
Yeah, and what's really cool about it is like all kinds of people played it. I remember even adults when I was younger would play it, and Disney canceled it, but a group of the older players that were programmers recreated the whole game, and it's for free now online.
Nice.
We need to do like a multiplayer thing for that one as well. We need to add that to the list.
Yeah.
Along with Sonic and Mario. We'll just have like a whole like 3-day session of
3 days,
playing these
3
games
days of
together
just
online. It'd
bullshitting
be
on
really cool.
games. That'd be fun.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I was thinking like the whole gaming thing as well, like with children and learning, you know, they learn through play a lot more, like things go into their brain a lot more and cement there. And I was thinking back to what Dan was saying earlier and how like perhaps there could be a way that, you know, with young people, they could play some games or some quizzes or something, and it would kind of it would determine what their strength was, or somehow, for want of a better word, funnel them into an area where they would be strongest or they'd be really good. You know, like if you were doing a minor maths test or something like that, and it would determine your skill level. In the same way, through some sort of play or through some sort of game, it would determine something that they would be good at. And then it would kind of funnel them into an area where they could do something that they would excel at.
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
don't know if that would be a possibility, but I'm just sort of thinking back to what Dan was saying.
Sure, it is. With all the
And then
artificial learning and
the whole gaming thing as well, learning through the gaming.
because there's
You know-
like my kid already does like ABC Mouse and that kind of stuff for the learning, and he has a ton of learning games, and he just loves them.
That's like one of those. I actually in college I used to tutor and elementary school kids, and that was like one of the things is like to try to get them interested in math. You got to do like I would do some of the computer games, but you just like make it into a game. But I was, you know, going into my own development, I remember I would always like scheme to do like my homework so then I could go and play. But then like I would like build Legos and build cities and build stories and like have all these like narratives in my head. And I always thought that as play and like not anything more than that. But you know, later as I grow up and then I see like how I am, I'm like, oh, I was learning how to like, you know, build my own stories and like, you know, like I would read like zoo books so I could understand like animals more and then like use that to like build better stories, I guess, in a sense. But like that stuff is like I had that divided in my mind because I thought, you know, schoolwork is boring and I do this and I have to like get that over with so I could go and have fun. And I thought like fun wasn't like, you know, anything more than just having fun. Yeah.
Yeah, the trick is to get the kids to think that they're playing a game, but they're actually learning at the same time, and then it doesn't become like a chore.
Yeah.
But you know, like you're saying, they don't do a lot of that in the schools. You know,
They don't do that,
school is so in the arc. It's like
for
they're just not up to date with all this stuff at all. They have like basic computer stuff, but it's not compared to what you can just find online yourself.
Yeah. But like for games with anybody, they don't do it enough anywhere for like work or anything. Like when I was coming up and you know when I was younger and I was coming up and I was a manager and stuff, I used to do games for the people that worked for me that like did stocking and stuff. So like at a retail store, we would do like if you did so many sections, it would be like a bingo card pretty much. And if you stocked the women's sections and the men's sections and the kids sections in a week, then you'd get a bingo and then you'd get a prize from that, or you'd get a store credit or something like that. So it would just make work a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Like nobody does
games aren't
those
just for
anymore.
kids.
Yeah. We gotta. There's plenty of stuff for kids out there, man. There's just like the little coding robots. They're tons of fun. Like my kid has a little coding robot that he codes himself. It's just like pretty much learning left, right, and like what algorithms do. So like if you do left, right on something, then how many times will it go left and how many times will it go right and stuff like that. It's just really fun stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
The
the
physical
like
robot?
young kids are just going to be like their coding skills are going to be off the scale when they're like our age. What's it going to be like? But then I think it's going to be more the norm. It's like
language by the time he gets around to coding. Like you'll probably be coding in the air with your fingers at that point.
He'll be so advanced. It would have gone beyond. Yeah.
Yeah. There's That's the one thing. Like even like as a coder, like as somebody that likes coding and stuff, code changes like all the time. So teaching code is always hard because once you fall out of it, then you got to come back and relearn it and do everything. By the time he's like coding, I probably won't know the code he's working on.
It's not really
I'm
something you can just learn and like come to the end of your learning. It's like an ongoing process because it's constant development and discovery. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was just looking at some the other day with pictures and how to like I was trying to figure that out. It was fun, but I don't know what I would use it for, but apparently it's very useful.
It'll come to you one day.
So what kind of movies do you like?
I am actually currently watching Dune, David Lynch's Dune.
Okay.
It's so good so far. We're watching a fan edit, which is apparently better. It got pretty bad ratings. So there was an edit that was made, I think he put some deleted scenes in it. So it's like 3.5 hours long. Yeah, it's really good. Liam read the book when he was younger. I think there might be more than one book. Yeah, it's just this crazy story. Is anyone familiar with Dune? I'm like, my mind's blown. We're not done yet, though.
I'm familiar.
I haven't read the book, but I've seen the first Dune movie. I was quite into that. It's just completely mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
The spice.
Yeah, the spice. I mean, I think he was high. I think he was not high, but he was tripping on psilocybin, I think, when he wrote the story. So it's very involved, complex.
Yeah.
It's super true. Like, that's what I love. I love movies that it's usually the hero's journey movies that capture me and most of the world. It's some version of the hero's journey, and that's
like Dune is always like, for me, the ultimate kind of, in a symbolic way, it's like awakening, consciousness awakening.
Yeah.
And he even says that thing that you know, the sleeper has awakened and all that. It's kind of, and then when you link it all into everything that's going on, it's just really profound. It's to me completely symbolic of people evolving their consciousness state to a point where they have a, you know, higher state of awareness.
Cool. Yeah, I'm like tripping out over it. I'm glad that you understand. I don't know if I could explain. I'm only halfway done with the film, so I don't think I could do it justice.
It's really hard to explain. It's like it sounds like a bit of a cop-out to say to someone, I'm not going to explain it to you. I'm not even going to attempt it. You need to watch it. But no, that is really the
just
truth.
Watch it. Just watch it.
You've got to
just watch it. Yeah. Besides that,
your mic working yet, man?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, bro? It's working. How you doing, man?
I had to switch the laptop, so.
No, it's all good. I'm glad you're here, man. I wanted to ask you.
I've just been listening, man. It's been interesting.
Yeah. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you could make it, man. Tell me about your channel real quick. What is your channel focused on?
Oh, wow. Pretty much just anything I feel like talking about. It covers political stuff, spiritual stuff, practical stuff. The New World Order. Definitely the New World Order.
Yeah. Gotta cover that, man. Yeah, you've been around, I don't know, a long time on Minds now.
Forever.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Food Fighter Picture? I still remember that
how you doing?
I remember the original Minds montage, and you like ended it. It was awesome.
Yeah, I've got a few more gray hairs since then. On the beard.
On the beard?
Not on top yet, but I'm sure that could be coming soon.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate all your support. I know you're in the writing corner a lot with us. You post in there a lot, and I just appreciate everything you do for us. So I just wanted to bring you on here and have you on for a show and let you talk about whatever you wanted to talk about, really. Because I know you don't do much gaming, but what's your favorite game right now?
Well, my friends game, but I don't. So they like to play Minecraft.
Okay. Yeah.
And it is kind of crazy. They kind of got me to sit and watch it, and they create stuff and then destroy it. I'm not sure I understand it, but I'm kind of clueless to the whole game thing. But
yeah, okay.
You know, I have like a weird, funny story about like, so I go across country a couple years ago, and then I pick up postcards, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna write some postcards and send it to a friend. And I thought, you know, the whole time I was like, okay, I'm gonna write something really cool and like this and that. And then so I was thinking about it all day, and then I sit down and I try to write on the postcard, and then I'm like, what to write? And then I start writing, and then I'll get into like a groove, and I'm like, I fill up the postcard, and I'm like, oh, I just started writing. Like this is not good. This is horrible. This is horrible. I can't send this. And then I started thinking like I have a small space. Like let me put everything I want to say in there, because like you know like normally I kind of like warm up writing and like I write a couple sentences and then I'm like okay I'm ready to go and then like I have no more space. Like there's nothing else to write. Like the same way when you're thinking about like tweeting, like you're like, okay, I have all this to say. Like how do I say it in a condensed manner?
I would fail with the tweet feature completely. I've got no chance.
So Tori, do you write small though? That's the thing. If you write small, you can fit more in.
That's was the strategy moving forward. It was.
So the postcard was the first tweet, right? That's the first tweet, the postcard.
Yeah, the postcard.
There was a huge debate on postcards back in the day on privacy. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, because there wasn't any envelope, so you could read everything on the postcard.
Oh my god, I never thought of that.
Yeah,
and
so
people
there was
just
a big debate on privacy back in the day on those. Yeah.
Anyone could read it. God, I never even thought about that.
Do you think there's like people that like take them and just read them, and like when they like at the work at the post office that just like pull them to the side and start reading?
Yeah. What else is there to do?
They're like, you know, just like how they share memes, like who has the dankest postcard?
Yes.
Who has the dankest postcard?
That's a good game.
Now we gotta send postcards of just memes to each other for like
yeah, for a laugh. Let's do that.
Oh man, what kind of movies you into, Freedom Fighter?
I am definitely into the dystopia type of film. So anything that's like, you know, like Eli or like Matrix or even I guess I saw the old Dune. In fact, I tried to watch the old Dune. You guys were talking about that, I don't know, a couple months ago, but I couldn't get through it because it was so old. It seemed cheesy to me. Do you know what I mean? It didn't seem up to par. Mm-hmm. The special effects weren't that good, and that thing that came out in that giant cage, that blob, that was kind of trippy.
Yeah, it was like a big, like shriveled manatee human.
Yeah.
It's got like sort of telepathic skills. It can read your mind and all that sort of stuff. It comes
right.
Was it like in a sort of a glass? It's encased in some sort of glass thing. I haven't seen the film for ages. I'm just trying to remember it now. But yeah, it's really weird. Yeah. It's like become so evolved because it's had so much of the spice. It's become like it can just read everyone's mind and it knows everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever I watch older movies, I always prepare myself for the bad special effects. Like I always have to get that in my head first. Like, all right, this was done in this time frame.
Yeah.
I kind of do that for modern films too. The ones that are over CGI'd. A lot of it's just garish. There's a sweet spot. I feel like somewhere in the early 2000s.
I can get in that headspace, but I still can't take on. It's just too much.
Yeah, I agree.
Does anybody think that the new Matrix is going to be any good? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah,
I didn't know they were remaking
it. It better be. I'll go find those people.
I hope it's good.
I didn't even know there was going to be a new Matrix. Well, that sounds cool. I'll definitely have to watch that.
And then they better stop. This better be it. It better be good, and this is the last one. Be done with it.
They'll
I
have to wheel
know.
out Keanu in a wheelchair if they do another one. He'll be
Yeah,
like 70.
exactly.
They'll try to do one when he's like 80.
Don't
He'll be
spin
doing
it.
he'll be
Don't
doing
get
kung
another
fu movies.
actor. Don't
He'll be doing
do.
the kung fu from the
They'll
wheelchair.
just
That guy.
digitally render him, and then he'll be able to play any role forever, for eternity.
We were talking about this the other time, like how shows or movies get bad after so many versions of them. It's just like there's just so much. You just got to stop at some point and just come up with a new idea.
Yeah, like
But-
I saw the trailer for, I think, the Batman. Is it? I don't know if it came out, but it's with Robert Pattinson, Batman, and the trailer looked really bad. Honestly, I just.
But what about these deep fakes though? With the deep fakes, Keanu could be doing like Wick 75 because he'd always be young, right? These deep fakes look so real now. That's like the new Tom Cruise one. That one is pretty real. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. They're getting really good.
Yeah, I mean, but essentially though, the actor or the actress can be young forever, and there's really no need for them if they can just plaster their face.
Well,
I mean, at some point,
it really makes you wonder what that contract says, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah. That's the natural outcome of certain thinking. If you want to maximize profit for your movie, and I think that's what happens a lot with these remaking something. They're more of a decision of we want to make a return on our investment than it is some kind of expression of something new or something like that. But they're doing that
sometimes it takes a couple.
There is a movie. I forgot what it's called. I have to look it up. But there's a movie where it's the near future. Hollywood is digitally rendering all the actors, and they're and they live in this digital area, and so they no longer need real actors anymore. They just have their digital rendering of them.
Okay.
This actress, she's fighting to I guess free her digital rendering. Kind of
Whoa.
yeah.
Sounds
it's trippy.
VR.
Yeah,
Should be a very real reality.
Oh my god!
I think you'd always be able to tell, though. I think you'd always be able to tell. I don't think that the digital will ever be. And for somebody that likes the real and organic, like me, I'm not into the synthetic, artificial stuff. So I want something gritty, something real. So yeah, I didn't even like when they put the digital stuff in Star Wars or Tron, or when they make the person younger and stuff. It's like bad CGI, but that was then, and now is still now. But you can still tell because there's something missing. You know what I mean? There's that spark of life that's missing.
It's the uncanny valley.
It's almost too perfect. It's so perfect that it's not real. It's just
maybe the masses will love it. Maybe that's what they want. I don't, but you never know.
I don't know if that's love, because you need it. You need it more and more, quicker and quicker. It's just that's the consumer culture. If you love it, you could go back to it and watch it and soak it in and get new meaning from it.
Yeah. It's oh man, I could watch Super Troopers a billion times in a row. Every time it will be great, and
I'll have to put that on my list.
Oh yeah. If you've never watched Super Troopers, you got to put that on the list.
Got it.
Do you smoke? Wait, do you smoke? No, she shook her head. No.
No, I used to a lot,
okay.
Not anymore. No.
It's definitely a smoker movie. So.
Well, I'll get some nostalgia. I'll watch it anyway.
I watched They Live last week.
Yeah, that's
and there's a really epic and hilarious fight scene in it. When is it Roddy Piper, the main character? I think he was a WWF star at the time, something like that. And he has this epic fight with his friend, where he's basically trying to get him to put the glasses on.
That's so funny.
It's just really funny. It's just the funniest thing ever. But I don't know if they set out for it to be that funny at the time.
Oh, it was hilarious. because it's so long.
It just goes on for such a long time.
And it's how you feel when you like want someone to see your point of view. Maybe someone you care about. It's like, God damn it.
It's like it's like that fight scene encapsulates trying to get people to sort of see a lot of the corruption in the world today, you know, like trying to get people to see the obvious things that perhaps, you know, more open-minded people can, it's really obvious to them, but trying to get other people to see it who are a little bit more closed off. That fight scene just says it all, really, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, they actually got hurt. They actually got hurt in that scene.
Did they?
It was so intense. Yeah, it was so intense that they, I think they slugged each other like for real quite a few times, but not on purpose, you know. But yeah.
You know what I watched the other day? I, Robot. Have you guys seen that recently? I rewatched that the other day. That was good.
The Will Smith one?
Yeah.
I don't think I saw
I've
it.
never seen that one. I know which one you mean, but I've never seen that film.
Yeah. I forgot how good it was. Like I rewatched it the other day. It makes you wonder about the next evolution because of where we are now with technology and what they were doing in that movie. Like all the robots and they had the future balls and like thought crimes and like all that kind of stuff.
Didn't the robot basically sort of start breaking the programming? Is that what happened? One of them, yeah.
The one robot ended up breaking through the programming of fundamental rules of humans or whatever. You know, you can't hurt the human or whatever. And
so basically, it kind of got really intelligent and started thinking beyond its original programming.
Right.
Will Smith did that other movie that a lot of people are talking about because of the times that we're in. You know, the what was the one with the virus? What was that called?
I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's after all this, right?
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I always wonder like how much of this is like conditioning, or is it life imitating art, or art imitating life, or both, or is it propaganda? You know,
right.
Yeah, like potential predictive programming. Could it be predictive programming? Because like so many of the movies, you know, some of the movies from the past, you know, you can see things within those movies that have, you know, become not the norm in day-to-day life. So you sort of look back
is anybody aware of Philip K. Dick's Black Iron Prison? So anyways, Philip K. Dick writes this like short story based off of a dream that he had, and he wrote it kind of like automatically, like he just after he woke up, he wrote it, and he kind of wrote it in one sitting, and then he published it, and then like forgets about it like 10 years, and then he finds himself driving in a car, and there's like a storm, and he goes to a gas station, and then he gets out of the car, and he's like, "Did I write this scene?" It's like, why does everything seem familiar? And he goes to the cash register and has this interaction, goes back to the car and sits in the car, and he's like, "This is a short story I wrote. This is the thing that I dreamt about." He has like this whole like weird like deja vu experience, and like how he wrote it, and like he forgot about it, but like everything played out the same, and he's like freaking out. And then he goes to like a priest and tells the priest like everything that he's talking about. And the priest tells him to tell him a little bit more about the short story, and tells him about the short story and what happens in his dream. And he's like, "You're talking about the books of Revelation." And so like Philip K. Dick goes and like reads the books of Revelations. Later on, Philip K. Dick goes mad and goes into a mental institution and writes like these weird journals. But anyways, his Black Iron Prison is like he has this theory about time. Like we were stuck back in like AD of Rome, and like just because like perception is like different, it doesn't mean like we're still stuck in like repeating this cycle of life. And that's why like everything seems to like have the same mechanics, even though like they're like different figures like playing out the roles. And then like if you read like his journals, like he goes really deep into like Gnostic like philosophy and stuff. But it's one of the wilder ideas about what's going on, about how this bridge and gap between the mind and dreaming and art and reality and perception, because there's multiple correlations between, you know, this bridge and gap between art and what happens in reality, and even what gets reflected in your dreams and all this kind of stuff. But I was now I think Philip K. Dick's idea is pretty wild, but it's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Wow.
And didn't he get raided? Didn't his stuff get raided by the FBI or something like that at some point in time?
Yes.
Really? Well, that's great.
Yeah. Well, okay. There's more to that story where he was he actually writes this book about, and David Bowie writes a song about it too. But anyways, he was claiming this was like when he has his mental breakdown, and then he recounts the story. But he was getting a signal from this thing that he calls Valis, and like there was like this beam of light that shot into his brain, and he got like this information to like everything. And then like he was in communication with like this intergalactic entity, and like the whole Space Odyssey and stuff, like that's all tied into like this one book. I think it's in Valis, and what David Bowie was doing at the time. But anyway, so that's what he was saying. But during that time, he had all these like coincidences or synchronicities or like things that happened where he was like paranoid, and everybody says like you're too crazy. But then like they actually like raided his house and they actually did stuff.
There's a lot of characters that are like paranoid like that, and I think it was
because
Howard Hughes was like that. He kept saying the FBI was spying on him, and everybody's like, "You're crazy." They want to put him in a mental institution, and he's like, "No." It turns out they were. I mean, it's like people have this like intuition. Like we all know we're being listened to. We all know they're watching us, so to speak.
Well,
it's just a natural intuition.
Scanner Darkly is all about. They did a pretty good movie version of it, but Scanner Darkly is actually like this book that he writes later on, and more about it, like his paranoia, and then also even his like withdrawal kind of stuff. But it's have you ever seen that movie, Scanner Darkly?
I have. It's been a long time ago.
Yeah.
Alex Jones. Alex Jones is in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, I love Alex Jones. But yeah, I have to watch that. Cool.
Yeah, that was and it was like rotoscoping too. Speaking of creativity and art and stuff,
like
it was like film, and then they like painted over like each individual frame. And then there was another film that was like that. I think it was called The Waking Life, and they did the same thing. But it's kind of a cool look, It gives it a surreal kind of a trippy like feel to it, and the topic and the subject matter was kind of weird, so it fit.
One of my favorite movies of all time is Waking Life, and what I love about it, I forgot. I used to know exactly, but it was like something like 28 or 23 different artists worked on it. And so like they filmed like the scenes, and then they gave the scene to a different artist, and it was like their interpretation of that scene. And so like each different scene is like a dream sequence. So it like how it all fits together, and how like each scene is unique, but it all fits together. It's really beautiful. Yeah,
I love the Alex Jones with the bullhorn traveling in his car. That's awesome. Yeah, just basically telling people to wake up.
Yeah, I could see the direct influence to you with that scene, in a sense.
Probably.
I have to check out your page, Freedom Fighter.
Well, I will say this about Alex Jones. I don't agree with everything the guy says. Obviously, I don't know too many people that do, but he definitely woke me up to a lot of things. Number one was 9/11. I was at a point where I was trying to figure things out. Like things didn't make sense. I'd turn on the news and they have this breaking story, and then all of a sudden, nothing. You'd hear nothing about it again. I'm like, well, what happened to that huge story? How come they're not following up on it? I really want to know. And then I saw Alex Jones on Entertainment Tonight, I believe it was. And he was talking about the towers, and he was like, talking about World Trade Center 7, and then he was like, Infowars.com, Infowars. And I was like, man, I'm going to check that site out. And then I just started going down the rabbit hole, and I started watching like the Bohemian Grove videos and the Loose Change videos. I mean, I'm that old. You know what I'm saying? I'm 55. So yeah, I think he's made some contributions. I don't agree with everything he says. I don't think we're in the end of the world. You know what I mean? Right now, I think that we're kind of in a reset to where we can make things better, but it's going to take people waking up. It's going to take people resisting the tyranny that's coming on us. So that's all part of the disconnect that the social engineers are doing. They're trying to keep us disconnected. So, when you guys do stuff like this, you get people together and we're talking and we're discussing, man. That's how we connect.
Oh yeah. We gotta connect, man. That's what everything's about. It's all about sharing your life in the world around you.
I think one of the things that has kept me on Minds is the fact that there is a pretty big diversity of people. And I think that for the most part, people have a high level of tolerance of people's beliefs and their, whatever it is, whether it's religious, political, whatever, they tolerate. And I think that's what's missing, and I'm thankful for that. Like all you people have been around here for a long time. I'm sure I've said some stupid stuff, and I appreciate you guys tolerating me, because anybody that talks a lot is going to say something they regret at some point,
Mm-hmm.
Even if you really try to focus in on, what you're trying to say, your opinions change, you grow, you mature, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody, for the most part, the people that have been here for a long time have been real good to me. I mean, I get the occasional troll. And lately it's everybody wants to kill people. That's the new thing now. They troll on my page about wanting to kill people, and I'm like, block immediately now. It's just
yeah.
They think the only solution is violence, right? And it's just there's some crazy people on mine, so that's definitely not acceptable in my book.
Yeah. About this new token though, Freedom Fighter.
What's that?
What do you think about all the stuff that's happening with the token?
Man, I'm looking to you for answers. I am so confused. You talk about the Minds token. I don't even understand any of it.
No, bro.
I don't. That's why I asked you. I was like, I gotta go to my boy because he will know. Send me some, because I'm just now. I mean, I bought into crypto like Bitcoin 6 months ago, but I'm new to all of this stuff. When I listen to you guys, I'm like, so you guys are smart about that. At least about that stuff, you are. I am clueless. I don't even operate my phone fully. You know what I'm saying? I know how to dial, and I was having problems, as you can see, just getting connected on here. But yeah, I don't know. Tell me about it, because I'm totally interested. Is it something that's going to eventually turn into something?
It has.
It already has. I've been shocked and still.
Well, tell me ideas. Tell me how it works in a basic way that someone who's not knowledgeable can understand.
Yeah. Okay. So, the token finally has some value outside of Minds, and right now, just on the Uniswap Ethereum market, it's worth around, I haven't checked it, but it's going anywhere from around $3 plus or minus 5 cents or something like that. And so potentially, if you know how to exchange stuff, so you have a MetaMask wallet, you have to actually have a wallet to go into the token system now.
Okay.
And so then you start earning the tokens, and so now when you get 3 or 4 tokens a day, that's worth $9, $10, and it tells you when the market goes up and down. And so then there's a cost to take them out. So there's a transaction fee, and it's now, because Ethereum's high, it's around $40 or $50 in total to take it out. So when you're thinking about it, you save it up until you get a value of $300-$400, and you can take that off into your wallet, and then you could exchange it for Ethereum. Now, from that step, you could exchange that for cash, and now you actually have money, capital to use however you want.
Can I implement my Coinbase into it? I have a Coinbase account, so can I use that?
You can use your Coinbase wallet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I noticed that there was a dollar amount next to the token, and that the dollar amount was more than the tokens. And I thought, wow, does that really translate to that? So
yeah.
You kind of answered my question.
Yeah, man. You gotta if you need help setting it up or getting it hooked up, you just private message me. I'll help you out, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
That's awesome. I think that's what everybe's been waiting for, right? I mean, a lot of people anyway, it's because you talk about open source and being independent of the system, the system that's corrupt, like Facebook and Twitter and all those. So this is like, yeah, I what I see happening is like a paradigm shift away from the establishment. I've been writing about that for 3 or 4 years, about the collapse of the corrupt establishment, and they are self-destructing, and it's just a matter of time before eventually they become they're no longer the primary source, and freedom is being given more to like just the average guy now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing with movies and with arts. And so you don't need to go to Hollywood to make a movie. I mean, they have cameras for $200 that rival like a Red camera. I mean, we're living in insane times. It's in a good way. It's good. Yeah.
And for me, how I view things, and just like you know, early on when they implemented even the point system, then it went to the token system. I was like, I wonder if it's ever going to have value. And then I was just thinking about it and the possibilities of that. So now it's hard, but there's capital that we have here. And so what do we do with this? And I've been invested in and growing my liquidity pool so that later we could have some fun in that sense. But going to this freedom and autonomy, for me, this tool is real economic freedom. And if you do it right, you could create whatever you want to create. And it's up to you to put in as much work as you want and then create the capital that you need to do whatever you want to do. That's what the potential of this is. And, the talking about incentives, the one incentive that I think is really good and what's actually making the coin have value. And then later on, I think it's up for the community we need to decentralize the liquidity pool, meaning more and more people need to have liquidity pools so that it's not reliant on a big whale. Like if it's on their whim, if they take out, $1 million of the liquidity pool, and what did that affects the token? This is all later thinking about token economics, but this is the same idea that we support each other and we now keep the capital flowing within our community. Like I could exchange already value. Now I've done it with Curry Hobo, and always I felt bad because I was giving him tokens, and like at that time the tokens meant nothing. But then like now they were worth something, and I'm like, okay, now I don't feel that bad. Like I actually gave him what he was worth. Like before I was just feeling bad. I'm like I should be giving him real money, but I'm giving him these shitty tokens.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, now you're giving real money to everybody. Well, you're giving something that can be worth real money down the line.
Yeah. Now
even the
potential
function of boosting gives it real value, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, my account is pretty small, but the boost has done wonders, and that's just using the tokens because it's giving you a platform to stand on, kind of.
Yeah. The ad network is, if you have tokens to put into the ad network, it's always worth giving yourself a boost. I personally like the sidebar boost and channel boost a little more than the newsfeed boost, but that's just me.
How much do you guys boost it? How much do you boost your content when you boost it? Like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000? Like what's your general range, and then like what's your max?
I don't boost anything under 5,000.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
So I'm pretty picky with what I boost.
Yes.
I only boost things that I'm like, okay, this actually has it offers value to the people who are seeing it. So I boosted my giveaway. I boosted my my contest entry, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really boost my normal posts, my everyday posts, though.
Why not?
Well, I don't post every day, but it's a good question. Maybe I should. Maybe I should boost everything that I post. Well, I think I like doing 5,000 views, and I think that I feel like my wallet would go quick if I did that for every post.
Right. Well, yeah, not every post, but yeah, you should probably boost more of your original content, though. You might be surprised how many people will like it or want to hear it or need to hear it. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah.
And if not anything, it sort of stimulates the whole, it stimulates dialogue. That's one thing I've noticed about Minds, though. It's very hard to get people to comment. You know what I mean? I've been posting for a long. Now, if I post something a little bit controversial, then yeah, I will get some comments, both good and bad. And I'm not doing that on purpose. Like, I'm not trying to be controversial to get comments. That's not how I operate. But it seems like, they'll like it or they'll dislike it or they'll remind it, but very, very, it's just not very often that people comment. I would like to see more dialogue.
It's important, guys. Come on now.
The comments in the dialogue was a lot more free flowing in the early days of Minds, wasn't it? Sort of like 6 years ago. There was more of the conversations and the dialogue, but for some reason it sort of
was
changed.
it like a change in user interface? Like, I'm not sure how it looked like back then, but I mean, the way that things are presented.
User interface has changed a lot since back then, but we won't go there.
So I have a quick question.
Go ahead.
So liquidity pool, is that off-chain tokens? What is that?
No. The liquidity pool is only ETH. So you add the same amount of on-chain tokens and ETH into the liquidity pool to make the token value go up or down. So if you're taking it out, then it's going to make it go down. If you're putting ETH in, it's going to make the value go up.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I use MetaMask, so I'll have to.
So for you, if you want to do a liquidity pool, yes, you have to take your tokens off to your MetaMask, and then you have to have the same amount of value of Ethereum to Minds tokens, and then you pair them to the liquidity pool on Uniswap, and that's how you do that. And like what Minds Gaming says is that's what backs up our token so that it has the valuation that it does. That's what gives it the confidence to exchange it for Ethereum right now. And then later when you think of future stuff in that respects, you could if we have capital, me and Minds Gaming could go in and build a liquidity pool for his token, and then you could exchange that token for Minds tokens on the exchange. Like you could set it up that way, or you could set it up for ETH. The pool's going to be small. It depends how much capital you have, but it'll be like, now you can exchange it for something on Uniswap. And that's how you build a token economics with that. That's how Minds did it. They put it on Uniswap, and then they had pretty much a good start for the liquidity pool. That's what grows it to.
For a good example, we're talking not NFTs earlier. You said you were getting into NFTs. So like right now we have OpenSea. Well, I'm recommending OpenSea to users for if they want to make NFTs because they're all open source. And you can swap what you earn from OpenSeas into a Minds token to use on the Minds network. So
whoa.
Yeah. So if you wanted to get into NFTs and still get Minds tokens, you can do it on OpenSea and then just swap them into Minds tokens.
Dude, that is like the most coolest thing, the NFT thing, that the link you sent me to read. And then I went on YouTube and watched a video from a YouTube filmmaker guy, and he was breaking it down, and people are making some crazy money on that. I mean, like a painting sold for like a digital painting for $65 million. I was like, what? And then he was also saying, because it's in its infancy, it's so new, it's so early, that people are making a lot of money on not even really good work. So, I mean, that really opens the door for people that are just sort of beginners. And I don't mean that to be mean. I mean, but that's an opportunity for people that are just, getting started, and they could even generate some income from that. But that's the coolest thing, the NFT, man. I'm trying to learn about that, because I think that's going to be implemented into Minds as well.
Well, there's a Git and a feature request for it by Bill Ottman. So probably.
There's been a roadmap for that for a minute. But going back to NFTs, what I think is so important more, I guess, for like creatives is now you have a tool in which, because we like to in Imaginarium, I want things to be kind of collaborative and open, but there's also things with people creating stuff and their own like ownership of their stuff. So like this is an easy way for like everybody to have their own independence, but also to work in a collaborative way. So like when you create something, you stamp it and say, hey, like I did this and this is mine, and then you could retrace like the lineage of like that image and that who created that. So when it gets used, you could find out who is the actual artist and then easily click on that and then like contribute and buy a collectible from them. Like, if I feature images from you in a video and someone says that's cool, and then like boom, you could click on that and find the information, and then you're like, oh, I like that image, like you have several different prints of that, and then like I'll send you $25 of worth of tokens for it, and then there you go. You know what I mean? Like that's where we're going with streamlining this. But on the back end, you as an artist, you create something, but you want it to live and go on and do different things. But you could set it up your own way of setting up the token, so where you get a commission if someone sells it later. Like if your thing that you sell for like $20 is value later at $1 million, like say you become a famous artist or whatever, you could get a commission on that. I think it's like, I forgot what the different, you said it on your thing. And so like later on, like, and you could even set it like if they don't do something about this, and then like they could cancel that sale. Like if they're trying to cut you out of the sale, like it won't complete the transaction.
So. Yeah, I heard a lot of people were using it like as a buyer reseller market, buying it and then reselling it for a higher price. And the guy that I was listening to said, yeah, that's going on a lot, and people are jacking the price way up. Even if they're basically like what I do as a reseller. I go out and I try to buy things at a low price and then sell it higher. So there's people like, I guess, going on looking for a good deal so they can buy it, and that's another opportunity as well.
So looking at it as collectibles, this is what people who are investing and trading them, they look at it like like Beanie Babies or like Pokemon. They're hoping one of these things like gets set off and like turns into something. So then like later they hoard them, like they have these special ones, and then you sell them.
Collector cards.
Yeah, but what's cool about this is like, say as we develop the card game and we get cool designs or whatever, and
I think he broke out.
He was just so excited, man. It just broke the line.
Yeah, man.
The energy was just too much.
Yeah, he was like, we can't do that, man. We can't do that. Oh, yeah.
It was getting good. It's getting good, too.
I know.
Well, yeah, NFTs are great, man. I think they'll be an awesome thing to bring into Minds. I think they would fit right in here with all the crypto and everything else. So
there's already the marketplace. Did you say
that? Yeah. There's already an art marketplace. There's tons of resources for it. So you should get it on here. And then the fact that you can already swap out for tokens and stuff. So maybe
that's awesome. That's awesome stuff, man. I think the future looks good as long as we keep the corrupt establishment out, and crashing our party,
create all these new things, and then all the old systems just fall away, like they become obsolete, don't they? They don't exist anymore.
Creator culture, creator society.
Yeah.
Well,
they want to bring it to where we basically have a basic income, and we're all just like serfs, that just obey the nanny state or whatever. But and that's why they're doing that, is because they know that their empire of dirt is coming down, and it's not even sustainable at this point. You know what I mean? Everybody's like turning away from them. Everybody's turning away from them. Everybody's running from them, and looking for liberty and freedom, because at this point we're actually being oppressed, and people want to find a way out. I told a few friends of mine a few weeks ago. I was like, the elite, whenever there's a crisis, they always take advantage of the crisis. Well, we the people should do the same thing. I mean, we didn't create the crisis, but we should look for the opportunities that arise out of that crisis. You know what I mean? Like there's all kinds of opportunities that people just get depressed, they get upset, so they don't look for the opportunities. I think could be even more better opportunities when times are tough than even when they're good sometimes.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, definitely,
totally.
definitely. I mean, that's where you get ahead. I mean, when everybody's down and not looking out, that's when you get ahead. You know what I mean?
But it's kind of like, I heard the saying, it's the best of times and the worst of times. You know, they're simultaneously, it's happening both at the same time. They're running parallel. Good times and bad times, they're parallel. And you can get on whatever track you want to get on. Do you want to get on the track that's leading to prosperity and freedom and liberty, or do you want to get on the doomsday, track?
Yeah,
And I think that people don't want to look at things. That's the big problem, is that people are too scared to look at things. Like I talk to people about stuff up to a certain point. I was talking to somebody about all the corruption and everything the other day, and they said, "Oh, I kind of understand that the government's corrupt and blah blah blah, but I don't want to go beyond." Because I said, well, but why do you think they're doing these things? You know, what's the reasoning? And their response was, well, I just don't want to go there. They actually said to me, word for word, that's too far down the rabbit hole for me, and I just don't want to look at it. And I'm thinking, but you have to look at it in order to then get on board the train of creating the new stuff, because you have to know what you're up against. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that's the big
But
problem.
I feel like you never know what a soul needs to learn a lesson. So there are some people that need that kind of oppressive environment to break through. They need the darkest dark to push through those boundaries they have inside of themselves.
Yeah. I like to say that I don't think it necessarily has to take a tragedy to like wake up, but it does seem like it's the most
effective.
Like it's the most way that it happens to most people, even to me. Dark night of the soul and everything like that. And I, the struggle to. I read this early interview with Aldous Huxley and I forgot who else, but they were talking about this book that he wrote, Island, and they said, "Oh, this is like a different than Brave New World and this and that." He says, the dystopian novel is easy to write. He's like, I wanted to write a utopian novel that's not like, that feels real and that people like to like get into, and that is like not cheesy and this and that. Like, it's easy to critique the world, but it's like, I wanted to challenge myself to build a world that's like, worthy of what I think humanity is, and give them something to look at and to aspire to. And I remember like listening to that, I was like, damn, that's true. It's a lot easier to like, critique something, and it's a lot harder to like build and create something.
Oh yeah. Oh.
I think that one of the reasons.
Newsletter.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No.
No.
I was going to change subjects, but I want to hear what you have to say on that.
Who is M? I don't want to. M is all I see on the screen. Meg. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to. I think she nailed it. That people just don't want to. They don't want to really know the truth. But I think the reason that is because they've spent a whole lifetime believing a lie. They have it. They spent a lifetime with a worldview that is not true, and that's why
it's like a grieving process that they have to go through.
It's real tough for them. Yeah, it's just tough for them to address that, because it's. I mean, think about collecting data for 50 years. If you're 50 years old, and the data you've been getting, a lot of it was just totally false, and now you're getting this this outside data, right? And they don't know what to do with it. And that's why it takes like a lot. You have to just plant a seed and let it grow. You just kind of have to speak the truth and walk away from it and let the truth do what it does.
Yeah, man. Some of that stuff, you got. It's all about approach, right?
I kind of became him, I guess, in a way, kind of the quote unquote conspiracy theorist, as they like to say. But really, I'm not really a conspiracy theorist. I just research. That's all.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like that's a lot of what they classify a conspiracy theorist now. I mean, a lot of it has actual backing to it now. Like there's actual facts that back up the statistics. There's this, and it's just like, well, you're just a conspiracy theorist. All right, dude, cool.
Yeah, that's why I
I guess
the
it's a
art in
compliment.
poetry.
That's why you like
Talking
art
about
and
approach.
poetry?
Yeah, talking about approach. It's like a very gentle approach to hinting at the truth.
True.
Yeah. Definitely with poetry. Yeah, I can see that. Like, but I can see that like it would be hard to put a truth into a poem without like distorting it too much. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, there's all sorts of different layers to this. In the one sense, yes, you can't tell a direct. Well, you can. There's like a haiku or something.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but what I think for me, poetry and art is giving someone a felt experience, and it's not necessarily telling them this is right or this is true or whatever. But it's in the sense of starting them like sharing something, a piece of your own hero's journey or your own discovery of your own soul or whatever term you want to put it on it, and you encapsulate this moment and you put it there, and then it connects with someone because it's true enough in that moment, and you feel that connection. You're like, oh, I felt that way. I know how that feels. I know whatever it is, either it's joy, despair, or whatever it is, awe or wonder or sorrow or sadness. You feel that connection to that piece of visual or audio or whatever it is, and then it creates that seed, and then later you go on your own hero's journey and you reflect and like, oh, okay, that's why I like that image, that's why I like that song, that's why I like that movie, that's why I like this and that in that time, in that period, because it resonates with how I feel and what I needed to hear, and it probably always echoes in the background until you're ready. There's this great saying that says when the student is ready, the master will appear. And I think that's a lot of times with my own development when I'm like engaged with whatever it is, media, something that I need to hear, I will like circulate around certain books or certain authors or certain material. And I don't know why, I would just like keep on listening to it or keep on going in. And then like later something happens and it like reflects into my real life. And I think, that's what I was supposed to learn, something about like maybe humility or something about like, patience or something about whatever it is. I'm like, oh, that's why that song was like echoing in my head. Like, you know what I mean? Like that happens to me all the time.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming with that. Yeah, the connection to people is definitely, really important. As Freedom Fire was saying earlier, because we need to, create a better reinvigorate the comment culture to connect. Because I feel like that connection. Like I know that when I comment and I like tag somebody, they're gonna comment back to me. They're gonna get back to me because that's who I know. Like I know them. I've been on here for years. I know they're gonna respond. But I mean, I would like to bring that kind of comment culture back where it's just tons of people that you just don't know talking to you on your post. Like,
no, that's why for my giveaway, one of the requirements on my giveaway recently was to comment something that you're celebrating.
Yeah. There you go.
Because I agree that comment culture is vital.
Yeah.
Even just the small, even if they don't follow you or you don't follow them, you're still having that moment of
absolutely
connection.
and that's important. Like just that, even if it's just a hey or a hi or whatever, it helps the creator, it helps the person making the content, even if it's like, hey, I like this.
For sure.
That's all you leave. Like, okay, cool, thank you. I appreciate that.
One of my
I think I left nice on a art piece recently right before I got on this. I was just like, nice.
This is something I think I've even mentioned it, but more conscious that I've been doing recently is going into groups and like encouraging real people that are posting groups to keep on posting in groups and try to like get more real posting than bots and spammers. And it's been working. It's slow progress. I view I like this one saying. It was Mark Pesce, and he says he views the internet as a garden, and I view mine as a garden. And sometimes you need to tend to some of the areas.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you gotta go check in on your gardens and your farms and everything, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole concept of social permaculture. I studied agriculture in college, so
Oh,
I took,
yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's totally like that. You know, and this is what I want to do. Right now, I'm just kind of like exploring groups, but I've been kind of like honing in on a couple and like telling people to go there and do this. But I want to like have this area where you can kind of like dip in and dip out, and where you like post, and then like you're gonna get some feedback. And like I think later on, I think the thing is like having it in a way that is engaging, because I've tried to do it, but I have this constant struggle with my own self because I like to create and I get lost and I want to just like spend 2 days just doing whatever I want to do. But then on the other front end, I'm like, I know I need to like go and engage people, because if I want people to engage with my stuff, I have to engage with their stuff, and doing this whole thing. And I think the groups is a way to get those people that are wanderers, is trying to find people, smaller channels. They were like, where's this group? But if like no one real is in that group, then they get disillusioned, like I've seen that. I've seen like, 3 weeks ago, someone posted artwork and it's pretty good, but then like you go on their channel and like no one's engaged with them for months, and they're probably like, fuck this place. I was like, no, I need real creative people. Stay here, please stay.
Let's turn back to culture real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see who we got. G. Who's your two of your favorite Minds channels, real quick? Two favorite Minds channels on here.
Two favorites. Is it a cop out to say Satori D?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
I was gonna say we gotta go like we need some hidden gems. What's the hidden gems?
Hidden gems. I'm just gonna plug my partner first of all, because I've been making him put more of an effort into posting, and he has been. So his handle is at Dayvista, DAYVISTA.
Okay.
And he's a developer, but he posts a lot of. He's using the tweet function too. He has a lot of one-liners, so he's spitting some wisdom, hopefully. And he also posts a lot of open source resources. So
nice. I'll make sure to check them out. I love open source, so I'll check them out.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people that are really supportive that I could shout out. Like, I think you probably are familiar with her, but Alien Spirit. She's very supportive.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's good.
Yeah, definitely.
She's a good channel.
Yeah, she's a good channel. I don't know if she's underrated, but I like it.
Yeah, she's underrated.
Yeah. We just like getting names out there. That's what culture is, right? Who you like is who, they like you, you like them. That's what culture is about. What about you, Freedom Fighter? Who are your two favorite Minds channels right now?
I've got to give a shout out to @Peggy2. I think that she is incredible. She is a sweet, sweet lady. She doesn't know how much she's really encouraged me to post and stuff. And I'm sure we don't agree on everything, and she probably doesn't agree with everything I have to say, but she's always been like nice to me and giving me words of encouragement. And I go on a hiatus every now and then where I just get burnt out on social media. So I just like deactivate my account for like sometimes a month or 2 weeks at a time. And I'll get messages, where are you at? And so it's just stuff like that. I don't think people really realize, like, when somebody gives you a positive comment, how much that really matters, how it resonates with the other person. It's important because otherwise you just feel like, is anything I'm saying, is it helping anybody? Am I just wasting my time just posting content, And so she's just an awesome person. You got to get to know her. You got to subscribe. She's been here from the very beginning. And I like @KDJH as well. I think that he's got a big heart, so. Right @KDJH.
He's lost in hyperspace. Going back to like common culture, and I guess when you mentioned Peggy too, I was like, I remember early on trying to go in a group. I started early, like groups and like trying to do something. And I had this one thing. It's called I'm trying to remember. It's called like Open Story, and it was supposed to be it's like you post a personal story, and then it's like supposed to be like this weird collage of like people sharing their stories. Anyways, so that was really hard to start in the beginning, and I remember John liked it and like gave me some encouragement, and so I kept on doing it, and I didn't know anything who John was, and then like later he keeps on giving me encouragement, and then like we have exchanges in the comments, and then like I keep on going on, and then like later it took me a while to realize that John was like Bill's dad. I was like, oh, that was John. I was like, oh shit,
I gotta send you my friend
and co-founder, right?
Remix now.
Yeah.
He's like co-founder, right?
Yeah. He was one of the early encouragements that I got on Minds, and I like for a long time I interact with him. I had no idea who he was. Interesting.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
Oh yeah.
But that is something I think what even gravitates everybody here right now is this kind of wandering spirit and like wanting to not only we're talking about being awake, but I think what's drawing us to the edges right here is wanting to do more interesting stuff, to do different stuff, to create the new. Like we all know that the system is decaying and dead, and so what are the new seeds that we're going to grow? I think that's what brought us here. I know in the early mind that's what kind of like gravitated me over here. And yeah. And then I think we'll end it at this. I was thinking about this earlier. Mac, I remember when he first came on to Minds, he wrote this blog, and then it was a really good blog, and everybody was like commenting, and I was late, and I was reading the thread, and then someone had this great analogy about Minds, and this was like 2 years ago, and someone was like, Minds, when I came here, Minds seems like a abandoned warehouse, and like, we could do anything we want in here, and like, I think it has good bones and we could build stuff. And I'm like, and it was kind of funny. I was like, 3 years. So this was 2 years ago. It's like 3 years ago, I saw the same thing, and there was no one in the warehouse. So I went into the basement and I started taking mushrooms. I listened to music and writing, painting on the walls, waiting for people to come. And I was like,
where were you? Because I was in the basement and I did not see you.
You were like hacking like the electrical grid so you can like hook up your server. I was like on the other corner, like drawing, painting on the walls.
That's so good. I love that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fashionably late.
Hey, always welcome. Well, it was a pleasure having you guys on. Thank you guys for joining us, especially Freedom Fighter. Thanks for coming, man.
Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
Check out your guys' channel there with the open source software and your artwork and stuff. And but thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. All right, man.